Hello and welcome to GooCampus, where we simplify global medical licensing pathways. In this video, we are going to discuss something very specific to IMGs, which are what actually influencing international medical graduates to move to Australia, what is the ideal timeline for IMGs to complete the Australian standard pathway, and what are the real difficulties IMGs face when they try to settle and practice there. This discussion is based on 2024 Australian Medical Council survey published in 2025, where nearly 60,000 international medical graduates shared their lived experience across different pathways. So instead of opinions, we look at what IMGs themselves reported about motivation, challenges, delays, and long-term satisfaction. Let's begin with the bigger picture. International medical graduates from a critical part of healthcare system worldwide, including Australia. Here's how the Australian Medical Council describes the contribution of IMGs. And IMGs now make up around 1/3 of Australia's doctors, and nearly half of all are GPs. And most of IMGs are working in rural areas, remote communities, and unreserved metropolitan regions. So IMGs have been the backbone of Australian healthcare where supply is limited. But why are so many doctors choosing to move Australia in the first place? When you look at the data, the answer becomes much more clearer as the economic opportunity stands out as the strongest driver. About 34% of IMGs said financial stability and job security were their primary motivation, because Australia offers structured pay scales and career progression and strong workplace protections. And the second biggest factor at 27% was family and relationships. Doctors aren't just moving alone. Many are thinking about their children's education, long-term settlement, or reuniting with family members. Australia is seen as a place where families can build stability. Then comes something interesting. About 23% of IMGs said the environment and lifestyle influenced their decision. Australia's healthcare system is perceived as organized and high quality. But beyond hospitals, it's also about safety, work-life balance, and overall quality of life. So when you look at the full picture, moving to Australia is rarely about just one factor. It's financial security, it's family, it's stability, it's long-term quality of life. And once doctors make that decision to move, the next question becomes just as important. What actually helps IMGs settle and succeed in Australia? When the AMC looked into this, the answer wasn't just clinical knowledge. The top factor was adaptability at 37%. More than a third of doctors said the ability to adjust to new system, new culture, and new expectations made the biggest difference. Next was English fluency, 18%. Not just language, but clear communication with patients and colleagues. Networking skills and willingness to learn also showed up. But what stood out repeatedly was this: strong communication, genuine empathy, and mindset of continuous improvement. In simple terms, the doctors who do well in Australia aren't just exam smart. They are adaptable, communicative, and open to learning. And one of the biggest questions we see IMGs asking is not, can I do this? It's how long is this actually going to take? According to the AMC survey, 77% of doctors on the standard pathway take more than a year to complete it. So for most of doctors, this isn't a quick transition. It's a process and it requires patience. Now, why does it take that long? The biggest delay reported by 60% is simply securing a job offer for limited registration. Then comes passing the AMC Clinical exam, 55%. And 44% said getting a place in WBA program slowed them down. Other common hurdles include not getting a clear information during applications, completing required core rotations, personal and family factors. So if things feel slower than expected, you are not alone. Many IMGs experience the same pattern. And remember, there is no limit how many times you can attempt the MCQ or clinical exam. Which means instead of clearing AMC Part 1 and waiting endlessly for job offer, you can book your clinical exam and prepare alongside. That way, you don't lose momentum. Australia Pathway doesn't just test your knowledge, it tests your planning. And once you understand the timeline and the real reasons behind, delays, you stop feeling stuck and you start moving strategically. Because beyond exams and registration, there's another reality many IMGs spoke about in the survey. When they arrived in Australia, they realized they were clinically trained but not always fully prepared for how the Australian healthcare system actually functions day to day. The challenges were practical. Things like how prescribing works under Medicare and the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, following Australia clinical guidelines which may differ from their home country, understanding legal and ethical rules, consent, privacy, confidentiality, navigating the mixed public and private healthcare system, caring for indigenous patients and understanding cultural context, adjusting to local conditions like skin cancer patterns, learning new drug brands and hospital IT systems, even getting used to medical acronyms and local jargon. So, it wasn't a knowledge gap, it was a system adjustment. And once you understand that, you can prepare for it properly instead of being caught off guard. Because when you go in with clarity instead of assumptions, the entire experience feels different. Despite the delays, the adjustments, the system differences, the survey also showed that. Around 80% of IMGs reported being moderately or highly satisfied with their jobs in Australia. That's important because it tells you something very real. Yes, the pathway can be slow. Yes, the system can feel unfamiliar at first. Yes, there are moments where you might question whether you are fully prepared. But once doctors settle in, most of them genuinely satisfied with their professional lives. Now, if at any point you feel unprepared, whether it's understanding healthcare standards, preparing for AMC exams, navigating interviews, adjusting to workplace expectations, or figuring out your next step in the standard or specialist pathway, you don't have to figure it out alone. You can speak directly to practicing doctors in Australia through our GooCampusWorld mentorship platform. Explore suitable mentors through the link in bio. From clearing confusion about AMC exams to preparing for interviews to building a portfolio tailored to your chosen specialty to understand what supervisors actually expect. Our mentors guide you from uncertainty to clarity. Sometimes that what you need is not more information but the right conversation with someone who has already walked that path. And if Australia is on your mind right now and if you are unsure where to begin or how to plan your next move, you don't have to figure it out alone. You can join our Australia IMG community, a space where you get structured guidance, practical insights and real support from us. You can join the community through the link in bio. If this video helped you understand the Australia healthcare standards more clearly from the IMG's perspective, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It helps us bring more transparent, data-driven guidance to doctors like you.